This week, Prophia released some improvements to our user admin function to make it even easier to add users to your Prophia account. Here's how it works. From your homepage, click on the gear icon and then Users and Permissions. That will take you to the page where you can manage your account and the users with access to it. To add a new user, click Add User, and you'll be taken to a screen to enter their information. I'll use mine for this case. It will ask you a job function. So for this case, I'll just say property management, and then the city and state where your user is located. The affiliated user dropdown is for when this user is not considered an employee, but is an affiliate, service provider, or counterparty. I'll click yes in this example. Under user role, you can choose the user's level of access. Admin is the highest level of access with abilities to edit buildings, edit tenants, and add users to your account. Edit users can edit the stacking plan, respond to the expired lease manager, upload additional documents by default, and add new tenants to existing buildings. Users with view permissions are limited to view only for your portfolio. However, you can give them permission to upload documents. I'll create the new user now. As you can see, there's a notification that an email was sent to, in this case, my email, with instructions on how to set up my Prophia account. Now I'll adjust the permissions for this new user by clicking on the name. I can see everything that I just set up in the user role, and down here I can see the list of assets that are within this portfolio. By default, no permissions are given, so I'll need to go through and select which assets I want this user to have access to. If it's someone who I want to have access to my entire portfolio on Prophia, I can just click this button next to permissions and give access to all buildings. If I only want them to have access to certain buildings, then I can go through the list and click yes on which ones I want them to have access to. If this is also a longer list, I can search using the search bar for each property. This way, if you have certain property managers who you only want to give access to certain properties, or certain brokers who you'd only prefer to see the information for certain buildings, then you can limit their access to only those assets. Once you've clicked these checkboxes, it's saved into the system, and you'll get this little notification that your information has been saved. Once you've selected the assets for this new user, your work is done, and they'll have access to everything that you've granted permission for. If you're coming into this menu to see which assets a user has permissions for, there are a couple of ways to do that. You can scroll through this list. You can use this drop down to see which permissions they have or which they don't, and you can go through and edit using that. You're also able to export any of this information to Excel in case you need to do an audit of your users and see which permissions they have. That wraps up our walkthrough of the new users and permissions page. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out to your dedicated customer success manager or send an email to support@prophia.com. Thank you.